Smart24, driving business.
Yes, good morning. It is exactly 3 minutes past 7 a.m. and the date today is 6th January 2024, and I would of course love to wish you a very happy new year as we start the very first week of January of 2025. I hope that you are having a lovely morning, and this is Smart Means Business, and my name is Falda Chirabo, and we are going to get right into the press review. So let's go for a brief break as we compile and get ready for the press review. Like I said earlier, the date today is 6th January of 2025, and of course we have ourselves a copy of the Daily Monitor as well as the New Vision. And looking at the Daily Monitor, the front page says that URA is at a loss after Heritage wins a case. Of course, we are going to be looking at this briefly as we go on as we cover the newspapers of today, but that is what is on the front page of today's newspaper. However, we also do have a little bit of highlights that also are on the paper today, and these include Risdale Kasasira farewell to a brother in arms, and then we also have a very interesting issue from the health sector, which is talking about Mpox concerns over the festive gatherings, and we also have why Masaka taxi sector is shrouded in confusion, and of course we also do look at the new tasks ahead for reshuffled permanent secretaries, and an article about Negesa lost parents, 4 siblings in Bulambuli landslides, and that is of course a conversation that is looking at the climate change and other issues that are affecting Uganda's economy as well as the globe at large. And of course we look at a couple's tale of raising a child with sickle cell disease, and of course let's get more details on what is happening in today's Daily Monitor. Looking at page number 1, we see that there is a court advises Muslim parties to go for warring or arbitration, and that is an article in today's Daily Monitor. Looking more again on the first page, we see that the reshuffled permanent secretaries are to get new tasks, and these include Miss Lucy Nachobe, the head of public service and secretary to the cabinet, confirmed the changes yesterday without specific reasons. Now, of course, some of the people who have been shuffled include Mr. Alex Okello, who was transferred to the office of the president. We also have Mr. Alex Kakoza, who was transferred to the office of the prime minister. We have Miss Lucy Nachobe, who is the head of the public service, and Mr. Dastan Balaba, who was sent to the directorate of ethics and integrity. Of course, now when we look more at this is a call into effective leadership of the economy of Uganda, and of course maybe when we look at this transition of the new leaders and their new tasks, we looking into how they will be able to serve Uganda very well as the year 2025 kickstarts. Now continuing, we have a story about the farewell, which is to a brother in arms who is known as Kasasira, who was 45, and he died in a road crash at Kalangala in the village of Liantonde district. And of course his wife, who is known as Charlotte Nishimire, who is 36, was driving a car, and their 2 children, Elio and Aretha, sustained injuries. Now this gentleman was a former worker and colleague, and this gentleman passed on. And of course when we look at these road accidents and the deaths that they're causing, especially during after the festive season and all the celebrations of the new year, we see that there's been an increment of road accidents due to a number of factors. Most of them are affiliated to having the bad roads that we have every other day, and maybe the rampant drivers who of course also play a big role in causing the number of accidents that are so happening. So if you are out there and you are looking at getting to your workplace today, be reminded to drive safely and follow all the safety measures that are required by those roads that we are using every other day, because your responsibility begins with you, much as the government has to play a role in the safety of the people of the economy. Now, moving forward, of course, now we get into more details about the front page of the Daily Monitor, which was Uganda Revenue Authority at a loss after Heritage wins case. Now, this case has been going on since 2011, and that is approximately 165 weeks. And it so happened to be that URA charged Heritage Oil a number of $45 million, which was so unfair, and this was attributed to the CGT, and this so happened to be when Heritage was transferring its shares or selling off its shares to another company known as Tullow Oil, which is based in the United Kingdom. Now, of course, the ruling has finally come to an end, and the URA is bound to pay back the money as of $150 million back to Heritage over this case. For they claim that the Chief Justice Susan Abinyo says that ruled that URA was wrong to assess capital gains tax on the $150 million that the cost price the UK firm invested in the exploration of Uganda's oil. Now, of course, this case is bound to affect the operations of the URA, for it is going to give it a haste of burden when it comes to paying back the debt. And of course, that is a conversation that is very interesting, and we shall be getting more details on it as the week progresses. And moving forward again, when it comes to health and the day-to-day raising of children, there is an article of a couple's tale of raising a child with sickle cell disease. Now, Uganda is the 5th highest sickle cell burden carried country in Africa, with 13.3% of children having sickle cell trait, and 5,000 to 20,000 babies born with sickle cell disease each year, of which 80% die before reaching the age of 5 years. Of course, these statistics are alarming, I must say, and when it comes to diseases that actually do not have a cure, such as sickle cells, and the high rates of treatment required for families to be able to meet the need in order to be able to save the lives of their loved ones. This is, of course, a grievance, as we see that Uganda is the 5th, and as we continue to talk about change in 2025, of course, these are some of the issues that must be addressed in order to be able to understand how the government or how the people in charge are helping and reaching out to these families in order to be able to help them have a fair and just stay when it comes to the health sector of Uganda's economy. And moving forward again, we see some of the things that we talked about earlier, being Najesa, who lost 6 relatives in the Bulambuli landslide. And one of the survivors says she has lost hope of recovering the body of her parents, and wonders why she was spared into the incident that left her grief-stricken. Now, this landslide is one of the things or one of the occurrences that doesn't happen to be new in Uganda's economy, and this could be attributed to the fact of the continued decline in climate change. And we see that there is a number of issues that are coming about, including the landslide that happened in Bulambuli. A number of people were lost, and of course, as we go on and enter the new year, of course, we cannot forget to pay tribute or just to have a moment of silence for them as a country, as we mourn their loss, for they were an important part of the economy of Uganda. And that is, of course, an article again in today's Daily Monitor. Moving forward again, we see that MTN mobile money microloans grow to 1.4 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, MTN mobile money loans have grown fold term from an average of 400 billion Ugandan shillings to 1.4 trillion Ugandan shillings in 12 months to December 2024. And we should be reminded that MTN is one of those multinational companies that is dedicated to securing network to a number of countries around the globe. And of course, when we see some of the advancements it has made in the digital space is being able to avail mobile money services to a number of people, and that of course includes loans. So if you are looking into securing something for yourself and you have a high loan return, you can be able to sign out a loan, pay for a loan, ask for a loan from MTN mobile services on your SIM card, and be able to kickstart 2025 on a bright note. And of course, we acknowledge the movements that are being made by these companies into securing Uganda's financial safety or economic growth in the long run. And of course, moving forward, when we talk about growth of Uganda's economy, we look at the government, which has started pushing to formalize small businesses. And of course, this is a move towards positive change, as most of the companies or small businesses in Uganda are not registered. So this makes it really hard for them to sign out small things such as loans, business loans when it comes to the financial institutions. And a survey or a research published in 2023 in the African Journal of Business Management shows that the median survival for small businesses in Uganda has 4.85 years, with more than 60% of those entrepreneurs not surviving past their 5th year. However, when we look closely to closer research, we see that actually the maximum years of a business to survive in Uganda is about 2 years, especially the small businesses. And of course, this is attributed to a number of factors that we discuss over time here on Smart 24, so always stay tuned in to follow on those conversations. And of course, the quote of the day in today's Daily Monitor is coming in from Matthias Mpunga, who is talking about: we are calling for key constitutional and political reforms, the conduct of just, free and fair elections, establishment of mechanisms for a peaceful transition. And as we await the presidential campaigns and elections of the year 2026, of course, it is advisable to start preparation way early, so that by the time we get there, there is no such things as a number of fights or injustices in the year, or a lot of issues when it comes to the campaigning and election season. And of course, the political article of the day is looking at this year we must choose change. So if you are looking at it on a personal perspective, one of the things that you should look at is, of course, taking care of yourself and choosing to change to be better for yourself. And lastly, when we look at again the Daily Monitor, being that health is wealth, there is a story on the festive season to fuel the spread of Mpox. Mpox is a new disease that is spreading from the root of DRC, or Democratic Republic of Congo. That is where it originated from earlier last year. And of course, it is spreading on a rampart when it comes to Uganda's space and economy. And when we look at this, we see that current evidence demonstrates that Mpox is now a sexually transmitted disease by infection, and with community infection evident among commercial sex workers in Kampala city. Additionally, since we are still in the festive season, several people will have traveled up country to celebrate Christmas and the New Year, raising alarm about the potential spread of the disease. Now, when we look at, of course, this, we see that the sex industry in Uganda is one that is not talked about a lot, but it does contribute a lot to a number of people's living. And when we look at some of the diseases that have come about due to this industry running its backdoor services, we see the spread of a lot of sexually transmitted diseases such as HIV/AIDS, and now we are seeing the new Mpox is also spreading due to that. And of course, this does pose a number of challenges when it comes to the health sector of Uganda's economy. And lastly but not least, again from the Daily Monitor, we look at from waste to cash, and that is Ariwa's urban poor earning from dirty jobs such as collecting rubbish, but they are able to earn a source of income. And as the price of urbanization grows, the lives of the rich and the poor are linked to waste, regardless of their income, culture, and place of abode. A high urban population means more waste is generated from homes. So these offices and among markets, and after the Chitezi disaster, a number of people are interested in the waste waste management sector of Uganda's economy. So that is one that is likely to pick up when it comes to 2025. So if you are looking into starting a new business, one of them could be waste management. And of course, that is what we have in today's Daily Monitor. Let's look at what it is in the new vision of today, and that is simply starting off with the front page, of course, and it looks at 76% of eco pipelines for the entire project have been delivered, and this is looking at 8 trillion shillings of Ugandan shillings oil deals for grabs. And more on the front page is looking at there are over 150 job offers in the Public Service Commission, former UNRWA and URF staff, Bank of India and UCC. So if you are looking at applying for a job this year, you can be able to get yourself an article of the new vision just to dive into and keep yourself updated on the jobs that you can be able to get. And of course, interestingly, moving forward, we see the housemaid video that trended later on or recently in the festive season. On the front page, you see that the lady has been jailed for 40 years over torturing the 4-year-old. And of course, if you got a chance to look at this video, you must have been devastated, at least for the time that you were looking at it, because it was a very unjust one. And of course, we shall get later into that as we dive more into this copy of today's new vision. And we see that the ministry is to redesign black spots on Nyenga Highway. This spot is known to cause a number of road accidents, and as we dive into 2025, the ministry in charge of roads is of course looking at being able to redesign the black spots so that there is efficient transport when it comes to the Nyenga Highway. And Uganda-US Farm Inc. deal on technology, and this is a move towards equipping Uganda with the technological advancements that it requires, as well as leading to job creation in this day and age. And then also there is an article about how to tap into the $8.4 trillion deals, and that is in the oil sector. And of course, if you want to tap into this blessing of this money, you must look at readiness of companies, local companies, to be able to grab this money and invest it in themselves. And if you are one of the people in this space, you should be looking at getting yourself this copy to look at whether your company does actually have the requirements it's requiring. And when we look at an intel from Ms. Nankabira, who so happens to be the Minister of Minerals in Uganda and Energy, we see that she said that they are dedicated to fostering economic growth, creating employment opportunities, and improving the quality of lives of Ugandans. And this could be one of the ways in which they have kickstarted that. And moving forward, again, we look at one of the reasons as to why Uganda is still failing to be able to meet its standards on the global markets, and that is shining a light on why Uganda's external debt remains high. And this so happens to be some of the reasons as we are going to be talking about in today's Insight of the Day. So please stay tuned in so that you can be able to get more details on that. Moving forward, when it comes to some of the clubs that are responsible for who have taken it upon themselves on a private or personal policy to be able to help Uganda's economy grow all the world at large, we look at Rotary Club that is seeking about 150 million Ugandan shillings for Kalungu Health Facility, and this of course will be able to help them give back to the community, as that is one of their mantras, service above self. And of course we accord the people of Rotary Clubs for their positive change that they have created in society. Moving forward, we look at His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni appreciating a number of personnel for their peace and security measures in Uganda's economy. And we also look at the hope for Uganda's tea sector as prices rise. Now, of course, we know that one of Uganda's biggest exports today is tea, besides coffee and the rest. But tea is one of them, and the prices are rising. So what does that mean for Uganda? And when it comes to technological advancement, again in the new vision, we look at adopting AI and how it will enhance growth and development. And there is an article from the experts and talk about illegal fishing, and the perpetrators are warned. And you know, there is actually a body that has been put into place to see to it that fishing is one of the things that goes well, and this is an arm of UPDF known as the Fisheries Protection Unit, and it is to ensure that fishing, the fishing is done safely, the fish that is caught is of age, so that we can be able to preserve it for future use. Now, of course, that and more is what is in the New Vision today. However, of course, we cannot forget to talk about how the State House widens probe into 7.6 billion Ugandan shillings that so happens to be fake currency, and how did this money get into circulation? Some of the conversations that are in today's New Vision. Thank you so much for tuning in for the press review, and we are of course here and dedicated to serve you, and we are going to be back from this beautiful break with Karibu East Africa and what is happening in international forums. So stay tuned in. This is Smart 24.
Smart 24, driving business.
And stay connected to GoTV. Choose your package from as low as 15,000 shillings.